the right fit for the role and the organization is crucial. And that's why we think it's important to avoid common recruitment mistakes that we think Kenyan employers make. And we're going to be speaking more about that with one of the recruiters here at Corporate Staffing Services, Natalia Caroline, and she's going to be expounding more on that. My name is Cynthia Wakio, the Communication and Events Manager at Corporate Staffing Services, and welcome to this video. Thank you for joining me, Natalia.
Thank you for having me, Cynthia.
I think this is an exciting topic to talk about because it's something you see on a daily when you're dealing with employers. And we're going to be talking about the common mistakes. So which mistakes do you think Kenyan employers make when it comes to the recruitment process?
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. So some of the mistakes that we find a lot of employers doing during recruitment is, first of all, not knowing who your ideal candidate is, because that's the first and the most crucial step of the recruitment process. Because first of all, you need to know who are you looking for. Well, who does your ideal candidate need, or do they need to have? The second mistake that we also find employers doing is formulating poor job descriptions. So here you're not giving enough information to the job seekers. So, and then there's a third mistake, which is the next step. So here is where you are uploading or advertising the job description. Not being able to reach candidates out there who need to apply for that role. Then you have another mistake that follows the next step, which is now when it comes to the interview. So how do you conduct your interview processes? Are they fair? How do you, if it's a panel, who are in the panel that is in the interview? And then you also find now after the interview is done, how do you also, once you get the candidate, how do you communicate? The candidates who don't qualify, do you give them feedback? Then the candidate that you select, do you conduct some background checks on them before you onboard them? Then also, once you've onboarded this candidate, how do you, onboard them in the in the organization? Do you take them through an induction process? Do you train them so that they can be able to understand how the organization is? And then also now, in terms of now when you've onboarded this person, you need to also give them a contract. You can't be working with somebody yet you have not given them a contract. How will you know the obligations? The obligations of the employer to the employee and the employee to the employer. Yeah. Yes. And now also the last thing here, and mostly, is how do you match the salary and the qualification? And this is where a lot of employers really, we find them doing or dropping the ball. Yes. Yeah.
When you talked about employment contracts, I thought about just not contracts, but contracts that are compliant to the Kenyan labor laws. Yes. Yeah, and the job description where I think people copy and paste from the internet and not customize to your organization and the role that you're looking for. Yeah. So which leads me to the second question. Okay. What are the effects to the organization when these mistakes are made?
Okay, so even if you've carried out recruitment a lot of times, you'll find yourself sometimes, employers find themselves committing some mistakes here and there. And because recruitment is a process, there is a step-by-step process that should be followed. So what are some of the outcomes when you don't get it right from the word go? You'll find yourself, one, recruiting employees who are maybe not suitable for the role that you employed them for. And what does this mean? That means then that you'll have to either keep repeating the recruitment process by when this person or the people you hire keep resigning. If candidates out there have the feel that your recruitment process is not really as per what it should be, you'll find a lot of times candidates out there can talk, and then your reputation out there is like that place in terms of...
It's toxic.
Yes. Yeah, they'll start saying you're toxic and all that. Yeah. The other outcome or undesirable outcome that it can have to an organization is also in terms of resources and the time that you use. Imagine you keep on repeating and recruiting, and you're bringing on board an employee who's not fit, or maybe in one way or another you did not do the process in the right way. So you find yourself repeating and you're wasting your time, you're also wasting your resources such as money.
Yes.
And then also in terms of retention, when you employ when you get an employee who's fit for that role, that means at the long run, this person will be able to stay in that role for longer.
Yes.
Then that means now your retention rate is also good. And when you go through the process as it should be, at the end of the day, you find your employees are able to align themselves with the organizational goals. And this will be beneficial for not just the employee, but also the organization as a whole. Yes.
So in terms of retention, resources and time,
Yes.
The brand reputation,
Yes.
and also the level of engagement of employees and
Yes.
motivation and the impact they have on the organization.